Troy, then Barbara.
Hey, Mr. Troy.
Hey, Greg, can you hear me?
You're breaking up a little bit, but I can kind of hear you.
Can you hear me okay?
I think so. Yeah.
Is that any better?
Yeah, that's better.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So I just noticed when I was about to sign on in the newsletter, there's mention of Wintergreen,
Mm-hmm.
and I did not realize you couldn't take it internally. And I took a drop or two internally.
Yeah, you're okay.
Yes.
You're okay. Yeah,
Am I-
don't forget about it.
What's the deal with that?
It can be, I mean, part of how it works, like it increases blood to an area, and so what happens is it is a little bit of like an irritant, like you put it on an area where you want a bunch of blood to go, and so that's part of how you unwind certain kinds of spasms. And so you don't want to put it on the skin neat, although I have many times. And I've accidentally taken more than a few drops, and if it happens once or twice, I wouldn't worry about it, but I wouldn't make it a habit. Like it really doesn't do a lot taking it internally anyway. It's more about it's like really site specific. So wherever you want it, put it on that spot. And if you want it just general, the amazing thing that it will do is like do it through inhalation. So like if you wanted to enhance where you're putting it on topically, inhale it and then put your awareness on your legs or the back of your legs or your back or your hips or whatever, because it unwinds the spasms, but it more importantly, it really kind of unwinds the fascia. And you know, sometimes when things are in spasm, it can be neurological, it can be poor blood supply, or it can be really restricted fascia wrapped around the muscle. So even though the muscle like starts to relax, the fascia being wrapped around it only lets it relax so much. And then the fascia also would impact how the nerve functions and how much blood and lymph and everything moves in and out of the area. And so, I know you have hamstrings that you're always kind of wrestling with a little bit. And so Wintergreen is a good thing to augment some of the things that you're doing. And so I would continue with that. But do the sites and maybe even apply a little bit of it down the shins, just to try to unwind those hips, or not the hips, the hamstrings a little bit better.
Okay.
Yeah. I started thinking about this, and I meant to say something to you. Like I remember it was a long time ago, but I had this one client, and she had hamstrings that she had one in particular, like one hamstring was just wound up, and no matter what we did, it didn't really have any lasting component. And that can be normal for the hamstring. The hamstrings are a pretty tough one to treat. And the thing that I noticed that the basic chakra kind of also would fluctuate in size. And this sounds really weird, but like I went down and we did like a bunch of healing, and I had her apply some of the oils that we have you like working with and stuff on her big toe, like her big toe knuckle, like where the toe attaches to the foot.
Uh-huh.
And it knocked it out. Like it totally knocked it out, because like what was happening was like as her foot was striking the ground, either from walking or running, there was some sort of, I can't remember what it was. I mean, it was literally like probably 25 years ago. It was just something about the way that her foot was striking the ground, and it just caused this chain reaction and then caused a problem up in the hamstring. And so I don't think that's your problem, but like when you have something where it's being a little bit stubborn, you kind of keep doing what you're doing, but you also start exploring options. And so, I mean, I'd go a little bit deeper on your feet and like maybe your shins a little bit. Do your shins ever get sore?
Not very often. Usually like hamstrings, lower back, upper back, neck.
Hmm. So let's have you do this. So, I mean, you can play with the big toe thing, but like it was just one of those things where we're talking about it, and it just like it was a flash in my brain, and I was like, huh, that could be a thing. But with what you're describing, let's maybe have you do a thing where you use the wintergreen and inhale just all the way up the backside of your body. Like, your Achilles tendon, your calves, your back of your knee, your hamstring, your butt cheeks, your low back, your mid back, upper back, all the way up to the base of the skull. And there's different layers of fascia. And by going through and working that, you're hitting the superficial, like uh, uh, like the backside. There's this like fascial train that goes up and down your body, and you're just basically kind of following that up from your feet all the way up to the base of your skull. See if that helps. I mean, you're already doing the stuff that you're doing. Let's see if we can't augment and make that a little bit better.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's an experiment. And then even in the thing I said, like, oh, maybe don't use it in a bath. I've used it in a bath a bunch of times, but like, if your body's not used to the oils and things, it's always best if you're going to use it in a bath to blend it with other things. When you blend it with other things, it's okay, but like you make it too hot or the body's a little sensitive. You know how like sometimes you get in a bath, you get that like it's almost like an oversensitized reaction where it starts to kind of hurt a little bit or the skin gets kind of red and you get out and it just doesn't feel good for 5 or 10 minutes and then it calms down. Usually means the bath was too hot or the oil was too irritating to your particular skin. So if you're going to do it in a bath, like mix it with a little marjoram or mix it with a little something so that it's not all of that. But I've taken wintergreen baths, you know. I used to do this thing. I would get powdered mustard, and I'd mix it with even parts powdered mustard with baking soda. And the baking soda wasn't really for therapy; it was just to keep the mustard from clumping, right? So I'd mix it half and half, and then I'd take like a vat of it, and I'd like kind of stir it around so it was all even, and then I would drop wintergreen in it and keep stirring it around, and then I'd have this little tub of it. And then whenever I wanted to take a salt bath, I'd just take a couple scoops of that mustard wintergreen thing and put it in the bath. And it felt so good. It's great for the joints. It's great for arthritis. If you have chronic pain, old injuries, things like that. It feels really nice, like really, really super nice. It's a very, very old school. I mean, I think that approach was probably from like the early 1900s, but I like going back to those old school things because they were doing things when modern medicine and going to the pharmacy to get something for conditions wasn't really an option. So they had to figure things out on how to treat it. So I like going back to those times because they didn't have a safety net. There was like, okay, there's arthritis. Like, what do we do about it? So they would come up with really inventive ways of treating it, and that was one of the old ways of treating things. If you
Okay.
want,
Yeah.
I can make you up a little bit. I always keep mustard around. I can make you up a little thing of mustard for you.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
It's super old school, but yeah.
There's a company at the health food stores called Dr. Singh's Mustard Bath.
Oh, it's probably the kind of the same idea. It's probably some old school formula like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give that a shot again.
Okay.